Warning, the following program contains extreme sports and violence and may not be appropriate for younger viewers. Viewer discretion advised.
They entered the UFC just 4 months apart. They rode parallel paths to the top of the sport. Finally, they meet.
Georges St-Pierre has a certain anger and fury inside of him that he reserves for people who insult him, who question his courage, who question his manhood. There's a different Georges St-Pierre that comes out in those fights.
Georges St-Pierre flipped out tonight.
No one has ever talked more about George than Nick Diaz.
Where are you at, George? Where are you at?
I don't have to like him. He don't have to like me. We don't have to say.
I don't think George is hurt. I think he's scared. I think he's scared to fight everybody right now. What's up? Where are you at, George?
I haven't said other than let's fight.
Nick needs motivation. He's got it. He's going to fight Georges St-Pierre.
Nick Diaz has been talking a lot about me. It's a lot of animosity, and it's a fight that I wanted to have, and a fight obviously that he wants.
When that cage door shuts, all hell is going to break loose inside that octagon.
UFC welterweight champion Georges St-Pierre looks to defend his belt against former Strikeforce champ Nick Diaz. Number 2 ranked welterweight Carlos Condit tries to prevent top-ranked Johnny Hendricks from earning a title shot. And 6th ranked Jake Ellenberger takes on Nate Marquardt in his return to the octagon. The countdown to UFC 158 starts now.
Nick Diaz. GSP. Time to settle the score.
Diaz versus GSP is a clash of personalities and a clash of styles.
Nick Diaz, he likes to get inside guys' heads. I mean, he is a trash talker with the best of them. Georges St-Pierre. Pure class.
You have GSP, this gentleman ambassador of the sport, gracious to media, gracious to fans, beloved by almost everyone who watches MMA. And then you have Nick Diaz, who's like this pugilist, maybe isn't always as accessible to the media, doesn't really embrace that part of the job, but loves to get in there and fight and scrap.
Nick shuns the spotlight in praise-only combat.
It's kind of been like almost like a comedy, trying to get these two guys to fight.
He is the Strikeforce World Welterweight Champion.
Originally, Nick Diaz was going to come over from Strikeforce, and they were going to have champion versus champion. Nick Diaz was not able to meet all of the media requirements.
There was a press conference, and Nick just didn't want to go.
We haven't heard from him. I haven't talked to him again. He hasn't returned my call.
Dana got mad and pulled him off the card.
When I knew for a fact that he wasn't coming this morning, then I really got pissed.
It was no secret. He doesn't like to do the media, and he's got the social anxiety disorder. He just can't take it.
Am I supposed to move forward with this fight feeling confident that this kid's going to show up for the fight? I'd rather pull the fight now than have him not show up the night of the event.
Diaz's title shot was given to Carlos Condit, but GSP pulled out with a knee injury. Diaz was paired with BJ Penn.
Fight! Good body shot. Very nicely done. Oh! Big combination connects again. Georges St-Pierre watching very closely. I have never seen BJ get battered like this on the feet, Mike. Nick Diaz is relentless. They go the distance. What a fight. BJ Penn, Nick Diaz. And they're still talking. At least Nick Diaz is.
I think Nick Diaz, he talked to me in the octagon, I couldn't understand what he says. He said, homie, something homie. His English sometimes is not very articulate. Sometimes I have the impression I speak English better than he is.
Nick Diaz! George! Where are you at?
Nick Diaz, he ramped up all the aggression, the trash talking to try to get a fight with Georges St-Pierre. After his stellar performance against BJ Penn.
I don't think George is hurt. I think he's scared. I think he's scared to fight everybody right now. What's up? Where you at, George?
I was pissed off. I wanted to fight that I should have already got, you know?
I know what he says was something offensive and something something to insult me.
Georges St-Pierre flipped out tonight after Nick Diaz was in the ring. I quote, "He's the most disrespectful human being I've ever met, and I'm gonna put the worst beating you've ever seen on him in the UFC." Nick needs motivation. He's got it. He's gonna fight Georges St-Pierre.
I gotta be the bad guy. You're gonna point the finger, make me the bad guy. I'm the bad guy, now I get a fight.
Scheduled for UFC 143 in February of 2012, that attempt fell through when GSP tore his ACL. Diaz fought Condit and tested positive for marijuana after the fight, earning a year-long suspension.
What caused the positive test was Nick smoking marijuana, but not for his fight. It can linger in your system for 30 days. He barely tested above the range, which is positive, and it showed he didn't smoke it for weeks before his fight.
People getting therapeutic exemption for testosterone steroids, and I can't use cannabis for anxiety or to relax or like to get some sleep so I can come back stronger in the morning, some fresh sleep or something. Can I get all this fighting out of my head for 2 seconds? You know what I mean? It doesn't stop. It never stops.
I really think that Nick lives on that edge. He has to live with total risk. What makes Nick crazy, what makes him popular with the fans, what makes him exciting, is also his worst enemy.
Are you really thinking about retiring now? You know, I don't need this, you know what I mean? I don't want to play this game no more.
When Nick arrived without incident in Montreal in January to promote UFC 158, he appeared to have turned over a new leaf.
Up until yesterday, people were still wondering if you were going to be here today. Is that stuff bothering you? People keeping doubting you?
You know, I'm just happy to get the show on the road. I didn't make it to the last press conference. It wasn't very professional on my part. You know, I just was ready to fight. I was ready to go to the fight, and I thought that was the important part. But, you know, I had to learn my lesson, and I'm ready to fight. I thought it went well. I don't know what you want from me. You know, you want me to come out there and be pissed off and start telling George all sorts of yous and all this flipping. You know, I like Canada. I like the people and the fans there. I think it really says something about somebody that's gonna go to the country and just start yapping all this. You're one guy. I come with my brother. I'm gonna come into this country, into this guy's country, into his town, and just start yapping. They know where I'm at. I'm in a hotel room. I'm like, if they want to come get me, they're gonna come get me. You know what I mean? Like, I ain't gonna say.
But just 3 weeks later, Diaz, citing a miscommunication, failed to show up for 2 days of shooting for the Countdown show.
I think his video blog would be great. How about if he had him professionally shot by professionals, the best in the business, the best at cutting and producing features on athletes? Imagine how good that would be. First, we got to get him to show up for the interviews, and then we can do it.
When I've had a really hard week and I'm all punched up in my eye, my lips split, I got my face jacked up, I didn't get a haircut. I'm a normal dude. I don't want to be on TV looking like This is what happens to me all the time. All the time. You got Georges St-Pierre and someone back there giving him a little powder on his nose. That does not happen with me. There's not a magazine at the bookstore. I'm not on the front cover. I'm not even inside of any of these magazines. Go to the Barnes & Noble. I'm going to be the main event fighting Georges St-Pierre for the world title. You go to Barnes & Noble right now and try to find a magazine with me in it. Not on it, not on the front cover next to the 4 with George on them or any of the other guys who aren't even very good on the front covers of magazines, or all up through the middle doing like advertisements and ads and I don't know, like they're making tons of money or something. I ain't doing none of that. Not that I wouldn't be open to it. Otherwise this would just go smoothly. I'd be stress-free all the time.
I think with Nick, if he can't complain, it's foreign territory to him. If everything's perfect, he's gonna make it imperfect because that's the world he lives in.
I think that we should get this thing going, you know what I'm saying?
Where you at, George?
If this guy was down to fight me, but I don't think he's down to fight me, you know?
I don't know why Nick Diaz missed the press conference. I believe he has a problem of anxiety. I don't know him. He's not my friend. I don't want to know him either. We're going to fight each other and try to hurt each other. That's what I'm going to do.
They are on their feet, 20,000 plus.
I don't have to like him. He don't have to like me. We don't have to say other than let's fight.
Welterweight title on the line. Here we go. Sold-out Bell Center in the hometown of GSP.
In November, UFC welterweight champion Georges St-Pierre made his 8th career title defense, his first fight in 19 months.
The champion, Georges St-Pierre.
When I fought Además Condit, I've been out for a very long time, and I was worried to not be prepared mentally for that sort of fight. You know, it's a championship fight.
How do you rebuild the perfect fighting machine? It started with 5 months of rehab in Southern California.
Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner.
Además Condit is a very unpredictable fighter. He's got a great variety of attack. You never know what he's gonna do.
Introducing his opponent, fighting out of the red corner.
From the beginning, I controlled the pace, I controlled the ring.
St-Pierre turns it up early.
I knew I was more strong and more athletic, so I wanted to use that to my advantage.
George looks absolutely huge for this fight. This might be the biggest we've seen him, Joe.
Yeah. Oh! Beautiful timing with that right hand. George is trying to rough him up from the top here.
Big round for the champion.
In round 3, I remember I got hit hard.
That's a nice kick. Oh, he got it. Caught with a big kick to the head. Caught it swarming St-Pierre.
What you don't see, that's what hurt you, and I never saw the kick coming, and they hit me right on the temple.
George is in big trouble. Condit on top.
I stay calm, and I told myself, said, okay, now it's time to work, to defend, to recuperate.
Look at the swelling on the forehead of St-Pierre.
Big elbows by Además Condit. George is trying to move here, Mike.
That's what makes the difference between that fight that I lost with Matt Serra, the first fight with Matt Serra, and this fight.
George is locked. He's out, though.
Once I recuperate, I went back to attack him.
Big right hand by St-Pierre. George picks him up, throws him down.
The wrestling of Georges St-Pierre is just so sensational. He's just able to out-grapple guys consistently.
They are on their feet, 20,000 plus. Big elbows by the champion. And they go the distance.
And still the undisputed.
I'm very happy with the performance. I did everything I could have done. I have no regret. I left everything in the octagon.
After Georges St-Pierre beat Además Condit, he knew exactly who he wanted as his next opponent, Nick Diaz.
All right, gentlemen, this is it. 5 rounds. It will be a fair and clean fight.
Diaz's most recent fight was also with Condit 9 months earlier.
Nick Diaz has this rare ability to make fighters back up and then look desperate and start flailing at him.
We really expected Condit to come in and fight in that fight, you know, to really try to knock your head off, the way he fought GSP.
Carlos is doing a really good job of evading Nick's strikes and landing his own.
Nick was starting to get frustrated with Condit's backpedaling.
Nick has started talking to him. Yeah, that didn't pay. And that bothers guys. That bothers guys a lot.
I wanted to be clear to the fans, too, that he's moving away from me. It's obvious. I just told him fight, you know? That's all I said. I put my hands open. I said, fight. Where are you going?
Look at this. Look at this. Have you ever seen anybody do that to Carlos Condit before?
The only way to stop me is if you run away or you hold on for life.
Like this.
Yeah, that's punches and bunches. That's what you call accumulation.
That is not what Carlos Condit wants. He's got to get out of there.
If they deducted a point for stalling or moving away, then I'd be no stopping me. This way, you know.
Should Nick get knocked out in a fight like that, I would have preferred losing that way than the other way.
You know, I'm not going to accept the fact that this was a loss. You know, I lost fights before.
I don't have any shame in that fight. When, you know, I see that fight, I won that fight.
After failing the post-fight drug test, Nick sat out for 13 months, the longest break of his 14-year career. He'll return to face the opponent he's been pining for since he first left the UFC 7 years ago.
How excited are you that this fight's going to happen? I mean, that you're going to get shot?
I'm not excited.
What do you mean you're not?
I'm not excited. I don't understand that. That word and fighting, they don't mix to me. It never has. People ask me, that's one word. When certain words you don't like to hear them, it's because they don't mix, they don't belong. Like when you ask me, am I ready? No, no, I'm not ready. When are you ready?
He says what he wants to say, and he does what he wants to do, and people don't like that.
I don't want to hear someone ask me if I'm ready, and I don't want to hear somebody ask me if I'm excited. Those two things, excited and ready. Ready and excited. I don't want to hear that ever. I could slap the out of somebody for asking me that sometimes. There's people who are hurt out there. There's people who are, you know, still hurting, still broke, still in the ghetto. I could be that guy right now. I'm not that guy anymore. I'm excited for that. I'm excited. You want to ask me what I'm excited about? I'm excited I don't have to be that guy anymore.
For years, Nick Diaz accused Georges St-Pierre of avoiding him.
I don't know, George. I just think that we should get this thing going, you know what I'm saying? I will tell you right now, I want to fight the #1 fighter in the world. I've always said that. I want to fight the #1 fighter. George never said that. That's the only thing I've ever said negative about George.
I never avoid nobody in my career. It's always a question of timing and time. And now Nick Diaz have come up and rank a lot. He deserves a title shot. I'm glad to give it to him.
If Diaz thought GSP was ducking him, he now has his answer.
The last 9 men to challenge Georges St-Pierre came up short, finding their weaknesses exposed by the champ.
Trying to submit Hughes. And it's all over! You want to talk about a dominating victory?
He can take the fight wherever he wants to take the fight. If he's dealing with someone that's extremely dangerous standing up, he'll take it to the ground.
Look how fast he gets him down. Up in the air and down. Why not? One more time.
If the person is great on the ground, he'll make him stand with him.
Man, did he step into that jab.
He will take you to where you don't want to be.
Those shots are coming at him, and he can't defend him.
He does everything well for what he has to work with. He has a good team behind him, and a lot of people, a lot of money goes into it, and that's where it starts working for him. I don't think without a lot of the extra help, I don't think he would do as well with what I've had to work with, just because it's really like a lot of extra hard work. You gotta just stick with it. It's about pushing yourself to the limits, and not quitting, and not giving up.
Come on. Good.
It's about being hungry and starving and weak and just beat the versus a lot of smart teams coming behind to put in this and that.
Nick Diaz, his style of striking is like no other we've ever seen inside the octagon. And he pretty much developed this style on his own.
Nick has got great hands and he's got great distance control. Many people believe that he's the best boxer in the welterweight division.
Oh! Good body shot. Diaz unloading the left. Big combination, connects again.
If I put more work in with better boxers than anybody, I've been working out with Andre Ward on and off since I was 18.
He's a great boxer, one of the best in mixed martial art, but I'm training with a better boxer than him.
No, you're not, dude. You're not. You're not training with better boxers, because they'll knock your ass out. I know it. You'll do a lot of better things with better trainers or you know, fitness trainers or whatever things that you have helping you. You're working out with a better kickboxing guy? How much does that guy get paid? How much does that guy get paid?
Every time we see GSP working in boxing, it's hitting pads or something, you know, with Freddie Roach or something like that. But is he getting in the ring with Freddie's guys and is he sparring them? That's a whole nother thing.
Go in there and try to spar. Go in there and try to work out in a boxing gym and see how long you last. Then you decide whether or not you want to be an MMA fighter. I don't want to hear about any of that.
I think if you put GSP right now in a ring with Nick and you told those two guys to box, GSP's quitting.
Stalking his opponent. Another straight left connects. I love how he mixes it up. And a left and right combination. Down goes Oishi, and it is all over.
He throws a lot of punch, you know, and he has his own style. He's very long and gonna come very well prepared for that guy.
Good jab and good leg kick. Georges St-Pierre turning it on.
GSP is going to be throwing a lot of leg kicks, low leg kicks. He's going to come over and throw his right hand. He's going to throw his jab. I think that's his game plan.
Unbelievable. He's eating those jabs, Kenny.
His jab is insane. He turned Koscheck's face into E.T. I mean, he absolutely destroyed him.
This might be the best GSP we've seen.
A lot of those guys he was beating with the jab, they were a lot shorter. He had a faster jab. He's faster than them. And I think he even had a little more reach on some of those guys. He was popping with the jab. But that's all I can say about that, really.
Nick, he's not the smartest tactician in there, but that's why a lot of fans love him too, because he truly tries to fight you at what you're good at, and he likes to get out there and bang. He wants to knock the guys out.
Nice. So my plan is to be better than everybody. You know, everybody's like, oh, game plan, oh, no game plan. That's fine. And I'll never tell anybody my game plan ever in my life. Game plan is be better trained, be better at everything, anticipate every single possible thing. Have a plan. What happens if that doesn't work? You know what I mean? Then you're That's the worst possible thing. Good job. You should have planned for every possible plan.
Georges St-Pierre is one of the very best wrestlers inside the octagon.
When I want to put someone down, I put him down. I'm the one who decides where the fight goes.
He's inside. Another takedown by St-Pierre.
I'm sure. I think he can take me down. But that's not a big deal. You're going to take me down? Okay. Now you have to deal with problems on the ground.
Now the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt pulls Daly into his guard. Just because Diaz is on his back doesn't mean he's in danger.
Nick has a very odd jiu-jitsu game. When you think you're getting good position on him, that's when he strikes.
He's got a Kimura. He's got it over there. He's twisting it back. And it's over. Fantastic. Impressive victory by Nick Diaz.
I'm saying right now, I don't give a take me down and stand up, take me down. It's gonna be a fight.
I don't really care what he says. I focus on the main thing. The main thing is to beat him, and when we're gonna fight.
Big one there.
I'm excited it's finally gonna happen, but you know, at this point, I'm not sure of anything until it happens.
After the first round, Nick Diaz will know that he's gonna have a bad night, and I'm a better fighter than he is.
I truly believe Nick is better than GSP. I think he has the tools to defeat him.
Nick Diaz!
No chance. I will be the champion at the end of that fight again.
Georges St-Pierre, Nick Diaz. Here we go! Come on! Bitch and Hendricks, and here we go. Hendricks with the lead left. Hendricks with a slip and rip, but then he got clipped.
Oh, big knee by Hendricks.
Johnny Hendricks!
Last November, Johnny Hendricks took on his third top 5 opponent in less than a year.
Campman and Hendricks. Let's go fight, guys. Here we go!
He threw those 3 kicks, and I was like, oh, okay, I got the timing of the kicks. Now I need to do some offense.
There's that big left right away,
looking for that power shot.
I was going to set up my takedown, and what happened was, whenever I started faking, I saw that his hands would drop just a little bit. As soon as I hit him, boom, it feels like you don't hit anything. And then you see him fall, and you're like, oh my gosh, it's happening again.
Oh, just like that! That's the big left hand again! Knockout win for Johnny Hendricks!
It felt awesome, because at that moment, I thought I was, going for a title shot.
Instead, welterweight champion Georges St-Pierre opted to take a fight with former Strikeforce champ Nick Diaz.
Yeah, I was upset that Nick Diaz got the fight. I've done everything that I was supposed to do, and it doesn't go your way. The champ is scared to fight me. It's obvious.
You rocked him, Johnny. Stay on him. Stay on him. He's hurt. It is all over.
He beat Josh Koscheck. He knocked out John Fitch in 12 seconds. He knocked out Martin Kampmann in 46 seconds. If you're Johnny Hendricks, you're wondering, what do I have to do to get a title shot around here?
I am the #1 contender, and please, give me a shot at the belt. Give me a shot at that thing.
I ain't gonna be scared when I look across GSP. The only thing I'm gonna say is, I can't wait to put my left hand right on his jawline.
There is no question about this guy's power, man. Thunderous! You kidding me?
Just minutes after Hendricks disposed of Martin Kampmann, Carlos Condit got his shot at Georges St-Pierre.
I was trying to finish. There's a few things I obviously would have done different.
And now it's Carlos's turn.
Look at the swelling on the forehead of St-Pierre.
Big elbows by Carlos Condit.
But in the heat of the moment, I did the best that I could.
George is rocked. He's out, though. How good is this?
I have a lot of respect for George, especially getting in there and fighting him and seeing what he's really all about.
Georges St-Pierre just came up to you and said you're the best guy he ever fought. Is that any consolation to you right now?
It's a great compliment from such a great champion, but no, not really. I'm still disappointed.
I was good enough for him to say that about me that night, but, I'm going to be better for this next fight.
Condit's next opponent was scheduled to be Rory McDonald, a rematch of his dramatic comeback victory in 2010.
Oh, he's hooked. That was a nice elbow from the top by Condit. 15 seconds. That's it. It is all over. Carlos Condit has done it.
But a month before the fight, McDonald pulled out with a neck injury. Johnny Hendricks stepped in to take his place.
I was really disappointed initially. The fight with McDonald was a great matchup for me. He had called me out.
Carlos Condit, I want a rematch, accept my challenge, and I'm going to get my revenge.
He had history. I think a lot of people wanted to see the fight, but getting to fight Hendricks makes up for it quite a bit. It's a huge fight. Puts me right back in title contention when I win.
It's a blessing to have this fight. I'm super excited. Carlos Condit, I've watched this guy for years.
Condit's pace is relentless.
Now I'm getting an opportunity to fight this guy. It's one step closer to my end goal, hopefully.
Johnny Hendricks dominant tonight.
If Hendricks beats me, then he definitely deserves a title shot, which I think he deserves anyway.
What do you think is next for you?
Give me that title, baby. Give me it. I want to bring it home, Texas.
Yeah, I'm taking a chance, but that's what life's about. It seems like today everybody wants to be given something. Oh, I deserve this. Oh, I deserve that. No, man, I want to take it.
Condit and Diaz. the new UFC interim welterweight champion.
Nice body shot by Condit. Nice head kick. Body kick as well, man. Clearly, Condit is the one who's landing more shots. Oh! Nice combination by Carlos Condit.
The natural born killer, Carlos Condit.
When Carlos Condit won the interim UFC welterweight title, he asked to fight Martin Kampmann, the man responsible for his only loss since 2006. In turn, Johnny Hendricks called out Condit.
If he's going to be fighting anybody, I think it should be me. It's my turn to get a shot at the belt. Let's see who the #1 contender is between me and Condit. You know what I mean? Let's see who gets to face GSP.
I was like, hey, you know, I'm the #1 contender. If you're going to call anybody out, call me out.
I don't mind being called out. It's not an insult, honestly. Somebody wants to fight you, that means you have something that they want.
Carlos Condit is the new UFC interim welterweight champion.
Now that I got Carlos Condit, I'm excited.
That's a nice head kick. Oh, he got it. Condit with a big kick to the head. George is in big trouble.
He just fought GSP. That fight's still fresh on everybody's mind. You can go out there. If you do good, then you know you're ready for the next step.
Good uppercuts here by Johnny Hendricks.
He's a tough fighter, but so am I. And as dangerous as he is, as feared as he is in the sport, you know, he's got to step in there, he's got to fight me.
Condit enters the fight with 13 wins by knockout and 13 by submission.
Carlos Condit has it in deep. Big armbar.
That right there is tough to deal with, because where do you want to fight him? You want to fight him on the feet, okay?
Condit lands.
If you're starting to fight him on the feet and he starts getting the better of you, then you want to take him down.
This is where Condit really has the advantage on the ground. He's very slick off of his back.
Well, now you got to deal with a good guard game.
He's very aggressive off of his back. There he goes with elbows here.
Hendricks is a great wrestler.
Look at that. Going for a ride.
He's very accomplished on a collegiate level. He's developed his striking to the point where he is one of the most powerful and dangerous knockout artists in the division.
He might be the biggest power puncher in MMA.
But in 34 pro fights, Condit has never been knocked out.
John Fitch, I don't think he was ever finished. Kampmann was only finished maybe once or twice.
The big left hand again.
I'm starting to fight these guys who've never been finished. They're not ready for the quickness.
Man, that guy hits hard.
He's able to close distance very, very quickly, catch people with these punches.
Look at the amount of distance he covers with this. Boom!
If he wasn't able to close that distance, he'd be kind of airballing it.
I don't think he will stand in exchange with me. I think what he's going to try to do is he's going to try to circle a lot to the right, stay away from my left hand.
Nick Diaz wants to corner Carlos Condit, and he has been really unable to do so. Really stifled in this round, Mike.
My game plan against Diaz frustrated him, but I think he's kind of a frustratable person. I think Johnny he's pretty composed as a competitor.
Hendricks is the one who's been taking the center of the octagon and pressing the action.
Oh, he clipped him with the left hand. Oh, he wraps him again.
The best way to cut the cage off is to maneuver your feet. Also, do the Tyson hook, which is leap forward and throw a hook. And also, if I miss it, I have a double leg.
Hendricks got him up in the air again.
I think that we'll be able to flip the script. A guy wants to come in and brawl, you box him.
Very nice combination by Carlos Condit.
A guy wants to come in and box, you brawl with him.
Oh! Absolutely! He's out!
I'm a technical, experienced striker, and I know that I have the tools to be able to shut him down.
We have not seen Carlos Condit throw that kind of power in the UFC before.
I've had close to 40 professional mixed martial arts fights.
A much more diversified striker is Carlos Condit.
We'll go in there and I'm going to try to beat the out of him.
with a flying knee. He left him. Looking to finish it off. Hit it.
I know that I have what it takes to beat Johnny.
The only thing that is for sure is that I will see him, he will see me standing across the octagon, and there's going to be a ref in between us. He's going to look at us and say, "Are you ready?
All right, you ready?
Are you ready?
You ready?
Fight."
Let's go fight, guys.
From March of 2011 to July of 2012, Nate Marquardt sat on the sidelines, released from the UFC and searching for work elsewhere. He used the time to drop from 185 pounds to 170.
I've cut out things like wheat, and I lowered my carbs quite a bit. I'm eating really high-fat foods like, you know, avocados and steak and eggs and things like that. Honestly, I feel great on the diet. I feel like I'm not dieting because I can eat a lot more, and so I'm happy. I've kept my strength and my explosion. I feel faster and way better cardio, so I think it's definitely a win-win situation dropping down to welterweight.
Nate's first fight back was versus undefeated Teron Woodley for the vacant Strikeforce Championship.
I knew he was very strong and a very good wrestler, so, you know, I trained hard in those areas. One of the things we worked on was the clinch.
Marquardt, nasty elbow strike upstairs.
I had an underhook with my right arm. I hit him with a left elbow as I pulled my right elbow back and hit him with another right elbow. He kind of started to bend forward, and I hit him with another right elbow. I hit him with a left uppercut and a right uppercut as he was falling down. That was something I worked on 2 weeks prior. It was a really new thing to me.
Nice move.
The feeling was awesome when I won the Strikeforce belt. It was one of the biggest accomplishments of my life. There's not much that can compare to the feeling.
Earlier this year, Nate re-signed with the UFC. When Rory McDonald hurt his neck, Nate jumped at the opportunity to return to the octagon.
Right now, I'm just looking at coming back and making that statement and getting a big win. The only person I have to prove anything to is me. I've proven myself as a fighter. If people like me or they don't like me at this point, I don't really care. I know I can be the best, and that's what I want to prove. I want to prove it to myself.
For Jake Ellenberger, McDonald's injury wasn't such welcome news.
It was definitely a little bit frustrating. When the opponent changed, I brought in a handful of training partners, specifically for Johnny, from around the country. So it's a little bit frustrating not being able to use some of the stuff we've been working on, but it's part of the game. When I'm at my best, I can beat anybody in the world at 170, and I have to prove that.
In his most recent fight, Jake took on former IFL champion Jay Haran.
Me and Jay fought back in the IFL back in 2006, I believe. It was my first loss. You always remember the emotions, the feelings that you get when you lose. Defense was a big thing in this fight, as well as takedowns and staying offensive, because if I let him control the range, it was going to be a tough fight.
And now he decides to mix it up with some wrestling. And Ellenberger gets creative with his countering, hopping on one leg, and now hit a nice little knee off the clinch against Haran. And there's the power takedown for Ellenberger.
Jake Ellenberger!
The victory has Jake one step closer to a title shot.
I want to be world champ. And if that's not going to happen, then I'm going to move on. It's too rough of a lifestyle. It's a lot of work. You get inside 8-10 weeks of a camp before a fight, and your life sucks.
Come on, Jake. Come on, Jake.
Yeah, I think people need to understand the reality of what you put yourself through 2-3 times a day.
What I've been doing this whole camp for Jake is, I always say, I try to break you. I'm gonna try to break you.
Don't stop. Don't stop, Fight those hands.
Every day that I go with you, I'm gonna try to break you. I'm not gonna hurt you, but I'm gonna try to break you mentally. And so today, you saw a little bit of that.
No matter what it is, you never stop.
In the last 9 fights in the UFC, there really hasn't been a week of training that hasn't been frustrating. But it has to be. You gotta mimic a fight, and that's one thing that I've really enjoyed about training with Mark, is he understands that.
You should be able to be tested in here and know that you put everything you can in here to have confidence that whatever happens out there, you can handle.
My whole motto about becoming a world champion is, I don't know that I'm the best fighter in the world, but I know I can beat anybody in the world, and that's all I need to know.
Nice knee. He's after, looking to finish.
I know I can beat Nate Marquardt. That's really all I need to know.
Now 33 years old, Nate Marquardt has been fighting professionally since 1999, becoming the only fighter to earn titles in Pancrase and Strikeforce.
Nate the Great Marquardt is the new Strikeforce welterweight champion.
He's been fighting for a long time.
Beautiful technique by Nate Marquardt.
So, another opportunity for me to beat a very well-known guy.
Jake Ellenberger wants to play rock, something robots with his head.
I'm not going to give him any respect when we fight. That's just the truth.
Are you ready? You ready? Let's go fight, guys.
Jake and I are both very well-rounded fighters. That being said, we're totally different styles. He wings his punches a little bit. He leaves himself open for counter punches. I tend to throw my punches a little crisper. He prefers the clinch a lot, to throw knees. I prefer to shoot and go for the takedown more from that position. On the ground, he's more of a position fighter. I have more submissions.
Wow, what a submission!
Ellenberger, a college wrestler, has scored knockouts in 17 of his 28 victories.
Definitely Jake's a dangerous opponent. He comes out banging. He definitely goes for the finish.
Jake's got some very heavy hands, and that's definitely something you want to watch out for.
As a striker, I would consider Nate more of a boxer, and he's a little bit unpredictable.
Wow! The Great Marquardt finishes the fight!
5 of my last 6 wins are by knockout. I think that speaks for itself.
Nate now has 9 career knockouts and 15 wins by submission.
He's a black belt in jiu-jitsu, I know that. He's been working a lot on his wrestling, so it's going to be a gritty fight.
Jake would want to be able to take him down and get on top of him. And Jake is great on top. He's a monster on top.
Jake was a college wrestler, and he does very well with takedowns. But I feel like I can stop most of his takedowns, and if he does take me down, I'll be able to get back up or submit him.
I have no doubt it's going to be a tough fight. I got to beat him to prove that I'm a contender for this title.
Nate is pretty darn versatile, isn't he?
UFC fans are going to see that I'm back, and I'm the same old Nate the Great that I always was. Even better.
That's a big shot, and this is the kind of power that Ellenberger has.
I'm glad to see Nate back in the UFC. I think it's where he belongs. But he has the wrong fight. I'm prepared to do whatever it takes to beat him, and I'll come out on top.